and I think that both candidates expressed their points of view on different issues. In the case of Donald Trump, what he would say is what he has done is a magnificent job, the best in the world, etc., etc. But it's his style. I was impressed by Joe Biden's having a plan for almost every issue. So he was propositive instead of Donald Trump being on the defensive all the time, saying that, well, I have been doing the best, but he didn't know the issues as Biden showed. But for example, in COVID, it was obvious that Biden was much more in favor of applying science, of taking care of the people, whether Donald Trump was all the time explaining why he shouldn't shut the country, close the country. Biden was more flexible on that, saying that we should be on a more specific on case issues. Not saying that it could shut the country because the economy would suffer, but to have more specific way of doing. Donald Trump was all the time saying, we are not going to show, we are not going to shut, we are going to open. In the case of racism, Donald Trump said that since Clinton, he has been the best with the black communities, and we know that's not true. If not, you cannot understand why African Americans support so much the Democrats. Only a few percent of the black Americans do support Donald Trump because racism exists. Racism is part of an embedded issue of that society. In the economy, Biden talked a lot on small business, on specific ways of encouraging that. Even though there are issues that are not discussed, I mean, the 1% of the population that have almost the majority of the GDP of the U.S., those were not things that were on the debate. You know the scope of this debate. We're talking about only two parties which represent the elites in the U.S. Here we don't have Bernie Sanders, we don't have progressive who were very much outspoken on these inequalities in the U.S. In the case of environmental issues, we had a more specific plan-oriented ideas of Biden, not the case of Trump. And he all the time, Trump was talking about, when he was talking about specific states, he talked about the states, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Michigan. In the case of New York, he was criticizing the Democrats, but all the time he was thinking politically. The states were swing states, and Biden was saying that he was the president of the United States of America. I think it was also an important take, try to put the emphasis in the Republicans to be divisive, specifically Donald Trump, very polarizing president, and his position and his character of being trying to unite more the U.S. and to give a hope. I had that impression. He was more case-oriented. There were so many issues. I mean, we are talking about some seconds after the debate. I have not yet reviewed all what was saying. In national security, Biden was very much critical on Russia, all the time blaming Trump for not doing enough. At the same time, Trump was saying that, yes, he had been the more anti-Russian of the American presidents due to the NATO rearmament that he has propelled and all the policy he has done. I didn't see that before during other discussions, but I would expect a more tougher line of Biden with Russia than same Donald Trump. The same with North Korea. The issues of foreign policy are never so widely exposed, but in this case there was specific issues. Not a war on Latin America, only Biden criticizing Trump for the way he dealt with the kids, with the children that have been separated from their parents in Mexican, basically in the border. The same with migration. Biden said, okay, we didn't, and it was true that the Democrats deported a lot of immigrants during Obama years. Obama was called the deporter in chief. That was true. He's now saying that, well, all the time he was saying that, well, yeah, I was vice president, I was not the president. Donald Trump was all the time criticizing him. Oh, Joe, you didn't think when you were vice president, and Biden said he should have been more pointing on the issue of that the Senate, the House was in the hands of the Republicans in the second term after midterm elections, and all the time they were very much criticized by the Republicans, who didn't give them all the possibilities, the same with migration reform, etc. I would tell you, summarizing, Laura, that I don't think that anybody who have already made up their mind in terms of who vote would be impressed by this debate. It was an average debate. I mean, not the type of show that was the first one, and I found, to be honest, that Biden was more prepared. Biden has he's been for 30 years in U.S. politics. He has been senator. He has been the chief of different committees in Senate. He was a senator from Delaware, and my perception was that he was better prepared than Trump. But Trump was not as chaotic and as on the offensive that he had been in the first debate.
Okay, Santiago, thank you. And according to all polls, Joe Biden has a lead of up to 10 points over President Donald Trump. How do you think this final debate could shape undecided voters' ballots?
I would think that they are going to make their minds taking into consideration this debate, but they're on the if they are undecisive right now, if they are not yet decided whom to vote, I would say that this debate wouldn't help so much. Sometimes the decision is made at the final stage, but in my modest perception, Biden looked more presidential than Donald Trump.